أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الله نور السماوات والأرض، مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح. المصباح في زجاجة، الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية، يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نار، نور على نور، يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء، ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم. في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال، رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة، يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار، ليجزيهم الله أحسن ما عملوا ويزيدهم من فضله، والله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب.
God is the light of the heavens and earth. His light is like this. There is a niche, and in it a lamp. The lamp inside a glass like a glittering star, fueled from a blessed olive tree, from neither east nor west, whose oil almost gives light even when no fire touches it. Light upon light. God guides whoever he wills to his light. God draws such comparisons for people. God has full knowledge of everything. Shining out in houses of worship, God has ordained that they be raised high and that his name be remembered in them, with men in them celebrating his glory morning and evening. Men who are not distracted either by commerce or profit from remembering God, keeping up the prayer and paying the prescribed alms, fearing a day when hearts and eyes will turn over. God will reward such people according to the best of their actions, and he will give them more of his bounty. God provides limitlessly for anyone he wills. Surah An-Nur. And in fact, the first ayah our Imam recited, Ayat An-Nur, known as Ayat An-Nur, the ayah of light, and the surah of light. And this ayah is the ayah that this surah is revealed, is named after. If we go to the beginning of this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts this surah by saying, Suratun anzalnaha, that this is a surah that we have revealed, we have sent down. And of course, the whole of the Quran is revealed and sent down. Every surah of the Quran is revealed and sent down. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us some emphasis here. This surah is an important surah. وَفَرَضْنَاهَا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that we have enjoined it upon you. And again, all of the Quran is enjoined upon us. But this surah, Surah An-Nur, includes multiple ayat with rulings. You know, the hudud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned some of these in this surah, the prescribed punishments, or multiple rulings around hijab, around, you know, the related to slander and so on. وَأَنزَلْنَا فِيهَا آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that He has revealed in this surah clear, manifest ayat. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. So that perhaps they may remember. Remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed this surah, has enjoined, has ordained this surah upon us, and has included in it clear ayat, clear signs and verses for us. Remember this as you read this surah. So this is Surah An-Nur. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Ayat An-Nur, this ayah of light, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts the ayah saying, Allah, God is the light of the heavens and the earth. God is the light of the heavens and the earth. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the scholars, they explain this in multiple ways. Okay, and we find often the case that the verses, there's multiple tafasir, and we say about these tafasir, these are complementary. Okay, the tafasir are complementary. So they complement one another, they add to the meaning. And this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's words are. They have such depth. Not like our words, such depth. And when, you know, someone might say, how is the Quran such a miracle? How is the Quran inimitable? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says multiple times in the Quran, bring a surah like this, bring 10 ayat like this, bring a Quran like this. Most of us will struggle to say, what is it that is unique about the Quran? One of the unique elements of the Quran is the depth of meaning. You don't find other books like this. You know, within a normal book, a point is made. It has one meaning. Maybe it has two meanings. Maybe it has three meanings. The depth of meaning of the Quran is much greater, and is from its miraculous nature, from its inimitability. So this first part of the ayah, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. They said the heavens and the earth are illuminated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's light. And we find this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has His hijab, hijabuhu nur. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we find in the hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's cover, His hijab is nur. We say, you know, to the sisters who will say about why we have to wear the hijab, why sisters wear the hijab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a hijab. Of course, His hijab is not like our hijab in this world, not like the hijab of the creation. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has His hijab. So instead, the men should be asking, why don't we have a hijab? These sisters, they wear hijab. They have something that they have to hide and protect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a hijab which is protecting all of His creation. In the same hadith, hijabuhu nur, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hijab is nur, is light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that, or we are told in the hadith, that if this hijab, if this cover was removed, then the rays and the glory from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would destroy all of the creation. And we saw this when Musa alayhi salam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to see him. And Allah told Musa, you can't see me, but look at this mountain. I'll reveal myself to this mountain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Himself to that mountain, and the mountain crumbled. The mountain was destroyed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has this veil, this hijab of light to protect His creation. So one of the first things, one of the explanations they made, the scholars of tafsir have of this, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth, is His light illuminates the heavens and the earth. They also said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the controller of all the light in the heavens and the earth, the stars, the sun, the moon, so on and so forth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the controller of all of this light. And this is, like we find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Hadith Qudsi that the son of Adam, okay, the children of Adam abuse me, say harmful words about me. They curse the time, and surely I am the time. That the son of Adam curses time, and I am time, because in my hand is the night and the day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls the night and the day, and says, I am time as a result of that, because He is the one in control of time. So in the same way, the scholars of tafsir, they mentioned, one of the means is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the controller of all of the light in the heavens and the earth. And then the third, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the guide of all that is in the heavens and the earth. And we find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this word nur, light, for the Quran, which we know is sent as a guide and guidance for us. For the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, again, a guide for us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the guide, the one who guides all that is in the heavens and the earth. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then gives us the example of the light. And this is, this is one of the ayat that there is so much commentary on. So much has been written on this ayah because of the importance, because it is about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's so much benefit in this example for us. So we should reflect on this. The example of the light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there is a niche, a crevice, a space. In this space is a lamp. The lamp is inside glass. This glass is like a glittering star. And the lamp is fueled from a blessed olive tree that is from neither east nor west, and whose oil gives light even when no fire touches it, almost. What does this mean? The scholars, they said that this niche, or one of the explanations for this niche is the chests of people. Okay, this place where this lamp is found is the chests of people. This glass that this lamp is inside is the heart. And this fuel, this oil that is used to light this source of light is the revelation. And when you ponder over this, when you reflect over this, you can take multiple benefits, multiple points of learning. Firstly, these chests are a niche. If you think, what is a niche used for in a lamp? In the old style houses, okay, and before we had electric lights, they would have a fire-based lamp, and they would have that in a niche, in a small gap in the wall. And that was used for multiple purposes. The two that are mentioned, if you look, is one is it's to protect it from the elements. Okay, protects it from the elements, from the wind or so on. Okay, so the less wind gets to it and blows this light out. The other is it helps concentrate and focus the light. So what points of benefit can we take from this? The chest, yes, it's a physical protection, but the chest and the bodies of people, these are also a spiritual protection, in that the actions that we do, they bring one closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They take one further away from that which is harmful for the person, harmful for his heart. We have evidence of this. Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. That the salah, the prayer, it takes one away from sinful things, obscene things. So a protection, a spiritual protection. Also a way for the thing that is in the heart to be actualized. We act on what is in the heart using our limbs, directing that light into something. So this is the niche. And then we have the heart that is in that chest, in that niche. The glass. The glass of the chest that has received this light is like a glittering star. It shines, it's bright. The glass is transparent, letting the light through. But then we also know that there are hearts that are darkened, that are sealed. The light doesn't pass through. The light can't reach. And such are our hearts, that there are those hearts that are light, or bright, or transparent, that shine, that illuminate to the rest of the body, the path. And there are those hearts which are dark, darkened, and sealed. And the person doesn't draw anything, any guidance through their heart. It doesn't receive any guidance to their heart. And then we have the oil, the fuel for this lamp. This fuel comes from a blessed tree. And there's another example of a tree in the Quran that we know of. كَلِمَةٌ طَيِّبَةٌ كَشَجَرَةٍ طَيِّبَةٍ. The blessed tree, it's an example of what? Of the kalima tayyibah, the blessed word. And what is this blessed word? It is the shahada, la ilaha illallah. The fuel for this heart, the fuel for this light within the heart, is this tawheed, is this iman, this faith. That's the source of this fuel. And this fuel on its own almost gives light. Even before it's lit, it enlightens. So the revelation and the faith, this is the state of it. On its own, it's almost giving light. On its own, it's enlightening. The revelation does this. It's something that on its own is so bright, so powerful. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh, going back to this tree, from neither east nor west, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. The scholars, they said about this, that this is a tree that is neither, far to one side or far to the other. It's centrally located so that it gets the sun throughout the day. It's pure and properly nourished, healthy and strong. And from that tree comes this oil, this fuel for the light of the heart. Light upon light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has light upon light. About this, the scholars, they said that if you say that there are two lights, there is the light of revelation, this fuel, and then there is the light of iman in the heart. When these two are put together, when the fuel and this flame are put together, you get the light. But when one is missing, if you don't have the iman in the heart, or you don't have the revelation in the heart, you don't get the light. You don't have the illumination from this lamp without both. So light upon light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He guides whoever He wills to this light. And again, we see this. You can recite the Quran to a person. You can teach them the Quran. But if they do not have the light of Iman in their heart, if they are not guided to that by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will, then the light does not remain in their heart. They are not enlightened by this. They are not, they don't have the sweetness of Iman. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will. We see this. We see that only those hearts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided to Iman are able to receive this light and benefit from this light. And furthermore, on the importance of this light, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses light in other ways in the Quran. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us that He is the one who takes the believers from darkness to light. He's the one who does this. He's the one who guides the believers from darkness to light. And the taghut, the false gods, those who are misleading, they take people from the light to the dark. This is what they do. The light to the darkness and to the oppression of oneself. So this is what the light does for us. We know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs us about the one without light. The one without light. The one who lights the fire and then the fire is taken away from them and they're left in the darkness. Or the lightning strikes and they have light and then it goes dark again and they're left there. They can't move. They're wandering blindly, unable to even take a step. We know that the person who was blind to the revelation in this life will be raised blind without being able to see in the hereafter. We know that in the hereafter, the light will guide us to the straight path, to the sirat and to crossing and to Jannah and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the one who didn't believe won't have that light. So this light of guidance, this light of the Quran and light of Iman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the example of, is so critical for us, for our guidance and for our success. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us at the end of this ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He draws such comparisons, gives us such parables for people. For people. Remember we said the first ayah, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ, that perhaps you may remember. So that you remember, so that you take heed, you remember these things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving these comparisons, these parables for people to remember and to take heed of. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has full knowledge over everything. He is the one who knows who deserves to be guided. He knows how best to convey His verses, His ayat, His clear signs, to give these parables for people so that they take heed, so that they remember, so that they reflect upon them. And He knows also what our hearts contain, whether our hearts have this light, whether our hearts are transparent and shining brightly, or whether our hearts are dark and sealed, unable to transmit and take and receive this light. So this is this magnificent ayah that we can reflect on and reflect on and reflect on and still only start to touch upon it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions after this ayah that those who He has guided, those who are shining in this way, are in the houses that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered for His remembrance, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered to be raised. These are the masajid. And that His name is mentioned in them. These people, these hearts with this light within them, these people who have that, these people who are guided to this light, this is where they are. They are attached to the masajid. They are attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's remembrance, remembering Him in the mornings and the evenings throughout, persistently. And one of the things that the scholars, they mentioned about this, of course they mentioned, the mornings and the evenings are times of prayer, times of dhikr, but also they mentioned this is a way of saying throughout, from the beginning to the end of the day, mornings and evenings, they're remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the people who have this light, the people who have been guided to this light. And these people are people who aren't distracted. They're not distracted by the worldly life. They keep up in remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the prayer, in giving charity, in fear of a day. In fear of a day when the hearts and the eyes will turn about. Again, the hearts and the eyes. the hearts that aren't enlightened, the eyes that don't have the light guiding them to see, turning about, not knowing which way to go, lost. So that is what they fear, these people who seek the guidance in this way and ensure the revelation has settled in their heart, enlightening their heart, joining with their iman to do this. So that on that day, they don't need to worry about being lost. They don't need to worry about their heart and their sight going left and right, not knowing where to go, being lost and wondering. And finally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that they do this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them, will reward these people, not just to the best of what they did, the best of their actions, but even increasing them upon that. Because just like He willed it, firstly, chose it for us to be guided, He then increases us in good, increases us in reward after guiding us. And this is the thing that the people are looking for. These people who are like this, they are persistent in their remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not becoming distracted, in the hope for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's reward and in the fear of that day. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who firstly who reflect upon His parables, who take lessons and the wisdoms from His parables and take heed of them and remember them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those whose hearts are enlightened by His revelation and by iman. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who aren't distracted by this dunya, but instead are focused, are being guided by His light, guided to that straight path, saved from His punishment and obtaining His reward. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك